I did not eat corn at Taco Bell. It's snack time.
Some people are Boy Scouts. Some people are Girl Scouts. Some people are Little League players. Some people watch TV or read. I myself am proud to say that years and years ago, when I was a wee little tyke, when I was a little baby, when I was a little nothing more than a little lad, I was a Y Indian guide. And I don't know, but maybe that's part of the YMCA. I don't know. Anyway, the cool thing about being a Y Indian guide is, unlike the cowboys, which I considered boring, I got to be an Indian. I got to be an Indian, and my dad was none other, because he was such a good dad. He was a troop leader of the Y Indian guides, and he did it to spend quality time with his son, and that was a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. And I remember we would all, as a little Y Indian guide group, all us little Indians would go to the woods, and we'd pick out a staff, and we'd paint it red and black and purple, and we'd put feathers on it, and we would just feel like Indians. We'd have little, like headdresses. Well, it was finally time. The Indians were finally considered old enough as a group to go on a little trip. And it was a day trip, but it was a long trip. And it was like a hike, and we were hiking, and my dad couldn't handle the responsibility. It's a heavy load taking care of a bunch of little Indians, so he needed, a little help, and the help came in the form of none other than his best friend from church. And I'm trying to think of a good name to give this guy, because he's such a nice guy, and this is kind of an embarrassing story on his part. I'm trying to think of a good name. We'll just call him Mr. Poopy Drawers. I know what you're thinking. Snackboy, that is not a nice thing to call somebody Mr. Poopy Drawers. No. Well, I know it's not nice, but I was nice then, as you'll hear in the story, so I don't have to be nice now. Well, my dad, Ron Crummett, and his best friend, Mr. Poopy Drawers, and all us cute little Indian tykes were in the woods. It was time to go home. And every 7-Eleven, my dad's friend, Mr. Poopy Drawers, who was like a skinny guy, stopped at the 7-Eleven, and he would go in to eat the grossest thing, like knockwurst, or a box of like s'more treats, like s'mores, knockwurst, and 7-Up, all sorts of 7-Up. And I remember thinking to myself, it's kind of gross that he's, every 7-Eleven knockwurst and our old hot dogs. And then we were about halfway home. It was a 4-hour trip, and we were all in a big green van, all us Y Indian guys. And about halfway home, suddenly he was driving, Mr. Poopy Britches, and I guess you can figure from his name what's going to happen. Well, I didn't know it, but he whispered something to my dad, who was in the passenger seat of the van, and my dad was like, and I said, Dad, what's going on? And he whispered, Terry, you can't tell any of the other Indians, but Mr. Poopy Britches had diarrhea, and we need to pull over and get to a gas station, and I need to give him my jeans or something. And I said, ew, but I had to whisper, ew, 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 ew. He was like, shh. I was like, ew, shh, ooh, shh. Ouch, ooh, ooh, ooh. And I was right in that seat, the van, first seat behind him, and I was feet away, and I just looked, and I remember trying to smell it, trying to figure out if I could smell it. And I looked at the jeans, and here's what I remember to this day. It was like, it's like the mid-'70s, and they were really tight on him, tight jeans. And I remember thinking to myself, how is there enough room between the denim and his skin for there to be diaduty? Diaduty is how I say diarrhea. And the smell finally whiffed back row to row. Every Indian, what the freak is that smell? Ew, ew. And of course, Mr. Poopy Britches in the driver's seat was just as embarrassed as he could be, and he hit the gas station, and he felt round 2 kicking in of the knockwurst and all that. And I could tell because he whispered to my dad. My dad's like, pull over, pull over. So round 2's coming, and you can tell it's like, I know I just did a diarrhea thing with Tom, the announcer, a few days ago, but this is such a funny thing. And he pulled over, and he was trying to keep his cheeks together. He's such a skinny guy in these tight jeans, and I could just tell. Round 2 was coming, and he ran to the bathroom and slammed the door. And by this time, everyone knew. When he came out and he threw his jeans away, what was going on, and he had to wear my dad's jeans. And so I think the part of that which to this day I'm most proud of is that even though I knew the aroma of his Poopy Britches, and even though I knew what had gone on, as a good, responsible Y-Indian guide, I respected the troop leader, my dad, head Indian honcho, head Indian number one, uno, and I didn't tell on Mr. Poopy Britches. But now it's years later, and I can tell, and he's reformed, and he has as far as I know, he hasn't eaten knockwurst yet, and he pooped his britches. His name is Mansuni. His name is Mansuni. And that was his name, and that's what happened. He pooped his britches. And now, out of revenge, God's probably going to make me poop my britches for telling you. I'm feeling it. Gotta go. Oh my goodness.